All right. We are live. It is fall break here in the Fishers School District or Hamilton Southeastern School District. So, because it's a little bit different and we're crazy today trying to keep everybody busy, Austin just took Dylan to soccer practice. Not that you guys all care about that, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So, have you ever wondered why people are obsessed with Hamilton County? Or maybe you've looked around the Indy suburbs and thought, why does it feel like some towns are booming and others hit pause? Well, we're going to talk about that. So I'm Cameron Geisman, your local real estate agent and suburban explorer, and your go-to girl for all things Hamilton County. And so today's episode is a little bit different. We're going to be doing a AMA or Ask Me Anything, from where you can find a starter home on the north side of Indy, or why builders are ditching basements, to which suburbs still have soul and which ones are starting to feel kind of like one big strip mall. We're getting into it all. So whether you're thinking about moving to the Indy area, already living here, or just trying to figure out if Carmel and Fishers are secretly competing in a who's safer contest, grab your coffee, grab your tea. I didn't even make my tea today, so I've got my big Owala water bottle, and settle in and let's jump in. Now, we're going to be talking about the questions that a lot of people have asked on our YouTube channel. So Adam went through, actually, not me. I didn't do it. I have to admit, some people ask me questions. I want to be very honest with you right here, right now, in the sense that I, for the most part, don't read the comments on our YouTube channel. Adam tells them to me, so yes, I'm reading them, but I don't go out there and look at them. And the reason I do that is also one of my other secrets is I don't watch our YouTube videos. I purposefully try to not watch them because I will criticize myself. I will judge. What was I thinking with my hair that day? Or why did I wear that outfit? Or, gosh, that looks bad. Or that sounds wrong. Or why did I say that? And so for my sanity, I just don't watch it. And so when you get a response, you actually are hearing from Adam. So when I say I'm in front of the camera, Adam's behind the camera. He is my husband. So if you call me and you're asking questions, I will respond sometimes with, let me ask my husband. He worked in the mortgage industry, the lending industry for 13 years, and has a wealth of information, but you normally don't see him on the screen. And so he is the one that honestly answers a lot of the questions. He right now is editor, changing the lighting. See, so like he's always doing things in the background. He's listening right now. And so we thought we would do an Ask Me Anything type segment. And so he went through all of our YouTube videos and pulled out questions. And then he and I sat down and we talked about what are questions that we get from clients all the time. Like when you call me in and are thinking about moving to the area, you have all these questions. And so I'm going to try to answer a bunch. Here's the thing. This is not all inclusive. We've done a lot of videos that try to answer a lot of these questions, but I know sometimes people are like, I don't want to watch 8 videos. Can you just like break it all down and answer the main questions that everybody wants to know? So I'm going to try to do that. I'm not going to hit them all. I'm going to hit a lot of them. I'm going to go for an hour. If I finish all the questions before an hour, then we're going to be done. If I have more questions past an hour, you're just going to have to wait for the next Ask Me Anything segment. So I'm going to put the question up. And while we're here, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, you're watching live, of course, leave your question. And if you're watching it after, this gets turned into a podcast so you can listen to it. So if you have questions after listening to it, please let us know, because again, that's what we're here for. We're here to answer all of your questions. So the first question that we get is, how long have you been in real estate? I feel like everybody asks that question because they want to gauge your skill set, right? Which I totally understand. At one point in time, I was a brand new agent. I feel like honestly, when I think back to that moment, 22 years ago, I literally knew nothing. And I think I was probably, sorry, I have something in my eye. I probably shouldn't have been answering questions at that point, because I know looking back, I answered questions wrong. Now I feel way more comfortable saying, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to get you the answer so that I can give you the right answer. But when I was young, girl, I just fake it till you make it is kind of what my motto was when I first got into it. I was bold and brass. I still am bold and brass, but I'm more comfortable now just saying, hey, I actually don't know that answer. And I don't think if you have an agent that never hesitates, I mean, I've done this for 22 years. I got my license in, I started like assisting in, I have to think about this. 2003, got my license in 2004, started out as an assistant with another agent with the intention to become an agent. But what I learned is he really didn't have enough business to have me be a buyer's agent. And so I was just a glorified assistant. It was not the right fit. But I loved it. And at that point in time, I analyzed who are the best agents in the area and how did they get there. And I saw or found that most of the really good agents had worked within new construction. So when I left that arrangement of being an assistant, I said, okay, I think I'm going to go into new construction. So I went and worked for a new construction builder for 2.5 years. It was a great 2.5 years. Honestly, it taught me a ton. Their training program was robust. So I learned about all the different aspects of new construction and building, and on top of that, real estate. Got to work with clients, especially a lot of first-time home buyers. We worked with a lot of clients that didn't know what that process looked like. So I was able to walk them through that process. I loved having my real estate license because I could also help with that end of things. And then when I left new construction, I thought I didn't want to work weekends. And so I went into corporate America, and I did this for 2 years in corporate America, just dialing numbers and got comfortable talking with people. And then when I left there, I went back to real estate, and I felt like, okay, that training of like working as an assistant, working in new construction, and then being on the phones all the time and being able to answer all the questions, it really primed me to be a better agent. And so, that's how long I've been in real estate. Adam, on the flip side, was in, he was in the mortgage industry, like I said, for 13 years. He left and joined our team, and now he has been part of the Geesaman Homes team, or us together, now for 10 years. So we both have done it for a very long time. We also have both lived in Hamilton County. We both graduated from Hamilton Southeastern High School. So we know the area like the back of our hand. And it's really been beneficial for us to kind of understand the market and everything. And I know that there's other agents that have moved to the area and kind of understand that relocation. I will say, having this YouTube channel, if I would have looked at myself 22 years ago, I would have never thought I would be doing real estate in front of a video talking about the area or being on camera. And honestly, that's why I don't watch my videos back, because I don't want to hear myself. I don't want to see myself. We're so judgy of ourselves, aren't we? Which is funny, because when I see other content creators, I'm always like, they do a great job, and I'm not judging them, but yet I think internally we all judge ourselves. Anyways, so doing this channel, or having a relocation channel, which it's not really a relocation channel, it's just information about Hamilton County, just because I love Hamilton County. I honestly do believe that it's one of the best places in the United States. I think there's a lot of locals that would disagree with me, and people on my YouTube channel that will, send the message of like, Indiana sucks. I mean, if it sucks for you, it sucks for you. It doesn't suck for me. I love it. I have learned a ton. That's what our YouTube channel has done for us. It has taught me so much because I've had to do more research to really learn about the areas, learn about the schools, learn about all those things that the first 10 to 15 years of my career, although I knew some of the information, I did not know near the amounts that I do now. So that's the other advantage of, I mean, I'm going to plug us right now that if you're looking for an agent and you're not sure where to go, I am going to say that I feel like I'm a way stronger agent than a lot of the agents locally because I'm doing all this research. I'm looking at all the things, and I already have been doing real estate for a while. So, but if I'm not the right fit for you, then I'm not the right fit for you. That is okay. I tell people all the time, there's enough fish in the sea. And I love working with the people that call us because you have probably watched a few videos and you've connected, and I would love to connect with you. So there's my plug. That's what I've done. 22 years. Doesn't feel like 22 years. So long. Okay. So now we're going to get into the questions that people have asked on our channel, which the first question is, why do people love Hamilton County so much? What sets it apart? I'm going to say this is a two-tiered question almost. If you ask a relocation client, so that might be you, maybe you are looking at different areas across the country and you live in one city and you're either being relocated by a company or you're wanting a more family friendly community. You want a Midwest feel. You don't want to feel the rush or the hustle and bustle of like California, like LA and New York. You just want kind of like a simpler life. Then Hamilton County is honestly a great place. I actually think it's kind of in the middle. So you have, yes, we're the Midwest. I'm going to kind of position Hamilton County, which is the north side of Indianapolis. It's a little bit bougier. It's a little bit faster paced than, say, like a country town. If you're like in Sheridan or Anderson or Pendleton, right? Those are much, much smaller city or towns. Some of them aren't even cities yet. Fishers is a city. They're towns. They're much smaller. And they have kind of that more slower kind of pace. Then you have Hamilton County, where Fishers and Carmel both have over 100,000 people. Noblesville has 70, Westfield has 60,000. Like there's just a lot of people. It's kind of a really good like transition from like Chicago, New York, even parts of Texas, California, like some of those like big city areas and even big city Indianapolis, right? Where you get high-end shopping, amazing food, the commutes are good. Like when I say that a lot of the houses that we talk about, you can get from point A to point B in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm not lying. Like I personally can drive 5 minutes and be to everything that I would potentially want. So shopping, dining, hospitals, entertainment, like concerts and stuff. I mean, anything. Like I would challenge anybody, what don't we have? Because there's not really, we have all the major sports. So we've got major football, basketball. Do we have Major League Hockey? Is that a thing? Like I feel like we have a big hockey team. I can't think of it. I don't know if we have hockey. Sorry, hockey.
No, we do. The Indy Fuel.
Indy Fuel. It's at Fishers. Fuel. Yeah, but no, that's downtown.
Indy Fuel, they play at the Fishers Event Center.
Yeah, but there is one downtown.
That's where they moved from.
That's where they moved from. See, this is why I have Adam, because he helps me answer the questions. Okay. Baseball, like we have, for all intents and purposes, all of the sports, right? Okay. Might not have all of them, but you know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't know what I'm lacking. I guess the thing I'm lacking, which I'm going to answer this in a later question as well, is mountains and oceans. Okay. But everything else, like so why do people love Hamilton County? Because it's great. It honestly also is very family friendly. So that is a very, like, it's interesting because from a fair housing perspective, I can't specifically talk about like family versus non-family versus, all of the demographics. And so, but if you're looking for a family friendly community that really focuses on family events and community, it's Hamilton County. And so that's why people love it. I have had multiple relocation clients who have moved here that have now lived here for a couple of years that have literally said that it is that they've traveled, like, let's say they have moved multiple times. I have a client that moved probably, 8 or 9 times and swears that Hamilton County is the best. So I think what sets it apart with Hamilton County per se is that it yes is maybe a little bit more expensive, but that little bit more expensive is still way less expensive than all of those big cities. So, like I said, New York, Chicago, almost all of California, like big places. And so if you like Illinois and you want to be close, or if you want to be kind of centrally located in the United States and you want to be able to get everywhere, like, I just think it's a great location. I'm not saying that south, let's say Greenwood, east would be Greenfield, McCordsville, Fortville, Franklin, and then west would be like Avon, Plainfield, Brownsburg. Like, I'm not saying any of those are bad, because they're honestly really great places. Like Brownsburg, for instance, their sports, like their schools sporting facilities are amazing, right? And right now they're way to go, Brownsburg. They have been crushing football, soccer. Those are the only two that I can think of right now because that's what's going on right now. And so, like, they're not bad. They're good. I don't think that any of the other cities, though, or counties have as robust of a family-friendly ecosystem within the city. So Fishers and Carmel, I'm gonna pigeonhole them because those two cities have done a phenomenal job of having it really be family-friendly centered with amazing schools, they're bringing in technology and businesses and the road systems and the potholes, and they just are really taking care of their cities. So that's what I'm gonna say. Hamilton County. Are you tired of me talking about it yet? I mean, our whole channel is somewhat based on Hamilton County. So it's just really great. So we're gonna do a video on schools. We're diving into like private schools, public schools, and going to be doing a video, but it takes a lot of time to kind of do all the data and pull everything. When you look at schools, when I have clients who call me and ask about the schools, you have to understand our public schools are sometimes as good as many private schools around the nation. And so that's what sometimes people don't understand is when they come here, they're like, well, we might consider private. But then when they start looking at the public schools, our public schools in Hamilton County are freaking amazing. Like, their goals are to get them, like, the graduation rate and the college application rate, like, is just through the roof, right? Comparatively, I always want to say comparatively, because I don't know of another area that has so much that are so good. And even if you talk about sports, like when we're talking about sectionals with sports, if your kid is a sports person, like, they really can pick what school they want to go to, and they're all good. Like, we have nationally ranked teams across the board from Indianapolis or Indiana, Hamilton County. Like, it's crazy. So anyways, okay. Next question. Is the Indianapolis area still growing, or are we hitting a slowdown? So somebody asked this question. I'm not going to say the Indianapolis area is hitting a slowdown. I think the market in general, i.e. real estate, is slowing down. You always see a slowdown starting in October to hit November, December, January, February. I'm a huge advocate of getting on before the spring market. I do think we're still growing, especially when I, again, talk about the surrounding areas. So Indianapolis itself, there's not a ton of growth. There's not a lot of land that is in Indianapolis. But when we talk about Hamilton County, you guys, there's tons. I wonder if I can even pull up let's see if I can pull up a map real quick to kind of show you. Let's go. No, layers. That's what I want to do. I want to do terrain. So no. Okay. So this is Fishers. So Fishers is like right here. This is downtown Fishers right here. Can you see that? Okay. Great. Logan Institute. That's a great homeopathic medical center. Kevin Logan is great. Okay. So do you see all of this? This is all just farmland. And this is 69 and 146th Street. So this is still Fishers. So all of this, then you have all of this. And I mean, just as you get out, there's still land, even within some of these areas. Like there's land. Even if you go inside, like there's still most of it. Yes. If you're talking new construction, yes. And we'll get into some of those questions a little bit later, but like there's tons of land. Like it's not, Carmel's a little bit more condensed. You've got to go Westfield, which again, we're going to talk about a little bit later, but you can see like there's tons of land. And just like Chicago, right? Chicago started downtown Chicago, then it went, out Naperville, all the surrounding, suburbs. And then now it's pushing out what we like to call the second donut. We're literally just barely tapping into our second donut. Our first donut is I'm not going to say we're going to see a slowdown though, because again, because of the last question, the Hamilton County question, like people are still moving here. Like it's still like such a great area. So you can kind of see this is the west side, still tons of land. So this is the first donut, right? The donut is the original donut. So right here would be the first donut. Then as you get out is a second donut. Whereas if you compare to like Chicago, this second donut's pretty packed. Whereas ours isn't. Ours is barely even tapped. So does that make sense? Okay. Next question. If Fishers, if I could read, see, this is why I don't watch my videos back because I make mistakes. Because I'm human. Okay. If Fishers is now safer than Carmel, do you think people will start moving? So we did a video that was talking about Fishers being safer than Carmel because some news outlet had put out that Fishers, they rank them and Fishers was higher than Carmel. How sometimes they rank some of these, because if you really look at the data from Fishers to Carmel, I mean, they're literally the same. There's slight differences. Do I think that people will start moving? No. I think you have to come and visit and feel the difference. It's really hard to explain the feeling, partially because everybody's feelings are different, right? What I might feel is going to be different from what you feel. And so I try to give you my feeling somewhat, but my feeling actually doesn't really matter. My feeling is Fishers is the best. But that's because I live in Fishers. But if I lived in Carmel, I would think Carmel is the best. So it's not that I think Fishers is best because Carmel isn't. I live here and I'm going to root for my team, right? Like if you're a Colts fan, you're going to cheer for the Colts, right? Like I cheer for Fishers. But honestly, if I look on paper, right? If I just go for paper, they're all great. And that's where I think people sometimes get mad at me because I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like if you move to Westfield, it's great. If you move to Noblesville, it's great. If you move to Brownsburg, it's great. Like there really isn't bad. I think you have to identify what you're looking for. Like how far do you want to be from certain things? How far from work? How far from church? How far from a hospital? Like what's your situation? So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions if you call me because I need to figure out your situation so I can guide you on what I feel like is probably going to be the best fit for you. So hopefully that answers that person's question. I don't think anybody's moving from Carmel to Fishers because they're, quote, safer. Okay, next question. What's your favorite part about living in or visiting Carmel? Okay, so first off, I don't live in Carmel, but I actually like that because I like to be a little bit further away, but then I can go and visit any of the things. So that's another great thing about Hamilton County is that even though maybe, let's say you live in Greenwood, right? The south side of Indianapolis, you're 30 minutes away. I think I just farted with my lip. That was hilarious. You're 30 minutes. That was hilarious. Okay. You're 30 minutes from, let's say, Carmel or Fishers. Any of the activities, look at the events calendar. Like, go to the events calendar, see what activities are going on. You can go. Most of the things are free. Like Chris Kindle Market, free. Doesn't matter where you're from. There are people from around the country that come to visit Chris Kindle Market. They don't live in Carmel, but it's a great event that Carmel puts on. And so I think that that's the beauty of it. My favorite part about Carmel, honestly, is the arts and design district and essentially it's Main. So Main Street, and Adam's looking at me weird, like something happened.
The audio keeps cutting out. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
It's back.
Main Street. Am I doing anything wrong?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Main Street and the Monon. So the Monon is a 22-mile trail that you can bike, ride, do all sorts of things on. And then Main Street is the arts and design district that goes through essentially, a lot of people call it downtown Carmel, even though technically it's not down. I mean, it's part of downtown, but it's not like downtown. Because you have to go a little bit more south. Yeah, south to get to downtown, which is where the office buildings are, like your municipal buildings. Anyways, okay. It's my favorite, especially one of my favorite times to go is at night, especially like on a spring or fall night. You could go to Bub's Burgers or Basbo's. Like there's multiple places. Silver in the City is one of my favorite little local shops because they have like fun. I like puns. I don't say a lot of puns on here because I'm probably the worst at saying them because I always get them wrong. But I like humor with like the funny socks or the towels or like fun things. And then they have like jewelry. So it's a really great gift place to go get somebody something. Super fun. There's Nicey. So like you can get ice cream, you can coffee, you can get burgers, you can get pizza. Like there's so much in that lower corridor. They've got like art studios. There's so much stuff. And so it's just a vibe. You can walk down the Monon for a good section where like you can, pop off and grab coffee, and there's like art sculptures and the landscaping and everything is just, it's a vibe. And so it's just super cool. Fishers is trying to do it with the nickel plate, which I think that they're doing a good job. I think they still have a ways to go to get it to feel like the Monon. And the Monon is a lot longer. Like you can literally ride your bike from Carmel all the way down to downtown. So Indy. So it's like there's just a lot there, right? It goes through Broad Ripple and then down. So it's just a really cool area. So if you come and visit Carmel, and especially if you reach out and I send you our Google Maps tour, then I send the map that actually hits that specific area. They have electric scooters that you can use on it. Like it's just a cool place. Tons of shopping, dining, all the things. So that's my favorite part. Chris Kindle Market. Love Chris Kindle Market. Their farmers market is really great on Saturdays. So yeah. So that's my favorite part. Okay. Next question. Where's all the growth in Westfield and the remaining amount of land for future commercial and residential developments? Okay. So I'm going to bring the map back up. And we're going to, actually, I think I am going to do that where it's no, now I don't know how to do it. Okay. So Indianapolis, we go north and we go to Westfield. So this is 146th Street. So if you've watched any of our videos, I kind of talk about 146th Street because that's the breaking point where you have like Carmel, Westfield, Noblesville, and Fishers. Like it's kind of like the corridors. And it's the main street that gets you. That's another thing why I love Hamilton County and or living in the Midwest is it's a straight road. I don't have to go around a hill or a mountain. What'd you say? Adam said something under his breath, but I can't hear him. So, and he's on a delay because he's watching it after the fact.
You said corridor. It's a quadrant.
Quadrant? Corridor.
No, quadrant.
Quadrant. See? Welcome to Cameron's words. Sometimes they're a challenge. Okay, Westfield. So here's Westfield. 32 is the main road for Westfield. So, and downtown Westfield is right here. They're actually working on it. It's really great. Westfield High School is, let me zoom in so that I can actually show you. There it was. Westfield's right there. This is Hoover Street, and then this is the downtown. So this is Grand Junction that they're working on. So if you try to go to downtown Westfield, it's kind of a challenge. But if I just scroll out, I mean, you can even see like there's still tons of land. Like you can see that they're building even right there. And this is Westfield. Whoever that is. This is Westfield. So right here. And then this is where a lot of restaurants. So one of the biggest complaints that I've probably heard about Westfield is that for the most part, most of the restaurants are like either fast casual or fast food. There's really not any like bougier or kind of more eclectic style of restaurants. Carmel and Fishers definitely have way more variety when it comes to styles of foods. It's more of a melting pot, whereas Westfield really doesn't have that as much. So that's probably one of the biggest things that we hear about Westfield. They also, because Westfield is also still trying to develop their downtown area, they don't have a strong downtown presence like Carmel and Westfield or Carmel and Fishers do. But they also have tons of land. So one of the biggest areas that we talk about is Chatham. So Chatham. So again, I'm going to try to, we're going to keep it right here so I can kind of, because this is even actually if I search Westfield, Indiana, let's see if it gives me that. Okay, there we go. Nope, I can't do that. Okay, so this is Westfield. So we're going to keep it right here. So that's that 146th Street. Now, so 146th Street actually has, that's where there's a lot of restaurants. So it is on the, you know, the borderline for Carmel. There's actually quite a bit of like bougier or melting pot of restaurants there. And then as you go a little bit more into Carmel, but this is Westfield. So you can see this quadrant. I must keep saying corridor. This quadrant right here, you can see it's mostly already built out. You can still see some land that's in there, but then as you get out here, like there's tons of land, right? Now, because Westfield, even though this is South Westfield, this is North Westfield, this is Westfield's high school and or their downtown is right here. So there's still tons of growth that they are developing right here. And this is where Grand Park is. So there's tons coming to Grand Park. Grand Park is exploding in the sense of they're trying to bring more attraction to it with like zip lining and activities that you can do around that area. There's a lot more hotels and areas that you can go, apartments and houses. And do we have a question? We have a question. Okay, I'm going to get to it here in just a second. And then Grand Park, which is what I was just talking about. Grand Park is where the live golf competition was, and where there's a lot of that higher end homes, right? Your $1 million homes are being built. So there is still tons of land, so to speak, and or space for construction. I have something on my screen and I don't know how to get it. There it goes. Okay. I see we have a question. Adam actually was pointing to me. Hey, Cameron, I am a local realtor in in the mainly Butler area. So I'm assuming Butler Tarkington. But I currently have a listing in Hunter's Run in Fishers. Showings are slow. I was curious if that is the case all around Fishers. And then, oh, wait, I should show the question. Still learning, Alex, still learning. Thanks for sticking with us. And then just curious about your thoughts regarding the activity in the Hamilton County area. Okay, so let's address that first part. So Butler Tarkington is kind of Indianapolis surrounding. So there's a school, Butler University. It is an awesome area, Alec. Actually, I love Butler area. Actually, a lot of investors will sometimes buy there because people rent. Great area. If you're thinking about wanting to be in Indianapolis, we've had many clients who have had properties and or lived around that Butler Tarkington area. Great area. Hunter's Run is a middle of the road community. I would say that yes, I think that yes, showings are slow. October, that happens, right? Anytime October hits, it slows. I'm curious, is the property around, like, I'm assuming maybe it's like 300 to 400,000, if you can leave a comment. That price point in Hamilton County actually has been I have a listing in that price point as well, and it's been actually a little bit slower. Still getting activity. I think that we're a big proponent of using video and trying to get the house in front of a lot more people. And so, yes, even with doing that, it has been slower. I think there's a lot of people that are still holding tight to their 475. So a little bit higher than actually I thought. Price point is 475. Here, sorry, I'll show this to everybody else that's watching. Price point is at 475. Currently, other listings are hovering around 460 to 485. So you're a realtor, so I'm going to, and I don't know how long you've done this. This is how I approach things. So right, wrong, or indifferent, maybe you can glean something from this. But whenever I have a listing, I look at data. So if you've watched our channel for a little bit, I am a huge fan of looking at the data of things and how things are moving. So every Monday, I talk to all of our buyers and sellers, but from our sellers' perspective, I am looking at the data heavily. So I'm looking at every day, every week, I report what's active, what's pending, what's sold. I call any open houses to see how many showings they got, what was the activity of that showing, so that I can give the data to the seller to say, okay, we had this many showings, which was in alignment or was out of alignment with other listings. We didn't do an open house, but the open houses that happened, this was their results. I also look at how many of the pending. So like when you pull a listing, it'll show pending houses. I can actually. Yeah, I removed me from the stage. That was weird. Okay. I will look at the pendings. I will go through every single pending and see which one was pended in the last week, because I go week to week. So I can tell them, right? I would be telling your seller at this point how many houses went pending. And then I determine which ones of those pendings were actually comparisons to ours, right? If I have a 2-story with a basement, I'm not going to use a ranch. That same client is not going to be looking at my house, right? And so I want to be able to give that data. So I feel like and maybe you already know this data. Sorry, I need to take a drink. Maybe you already know this data, but I would tell you, you kind of need to know that data to know for you if those houses with what you're comparing it to are also slow. Sometimes it's just the market, and we have to be honest with our sellers of like, hey, this is a market issue. This isn't a your house issue, right? And I think that's where I kind of learned that probably about 10 years into my career. I was not educating my sellers on all of that data to be able to guide them on the route to go. But if your house has been sitting for a while and you've had no showings and no activity, I hate to say it, you could do a shit ton of videos and content and all the things. If it's priced too high, it's priced too high. But yes, to answer your question, to a certain extent, yes, showings are slower. I can't say it's for all of Fishers because ultimately there are still houses in Fishers that, depending on, all of the data and everything, they're still going fast in 24 to 48 hours. So it's a hard variable. That's why I would compare that specific house to all the other houses in Hamilton County, in Hamilton Southeastern School District, to really determine if it is a house issue or a inventory, like the market. I hope that helps. That's how I go about. I am not one to be like, I know all the answers. I really lean into the data because the data is going to be able to help. And I do talk with a lot of agents around the area to my specific listing to be able to say, is yours getting showings? Is mine getting showings? I think across the board, Hamilton County and all areas are seeing a slowdown because that happens. I've done this for 22 years. It always slows in October. Always. Now, if I look at the percentage, traditionally though, when I look at the percentage that sold like in slower times versus summer, they're really close. It's usually just a little bit. So, yes, it helps very much. The data is my biggest barometer as well. Perfect. Yeah. So you're doing what you need to do. I mean, ultimately, I think that we have to be advocates of talking about that to all of our clients to make sure that they kind of know that. So, okay, I'm going to go back to the questions. And if you have any other questions, Alec, and also feel free to call me. I'm an open book with pretty much everything. I really love talking to agents and collaborating and talking and kind of learning because I don't know everything. I'm always learning and want to get better. So, okay. Next question. What are your thoughts on McCordsville, Fortville? I've said this in a couple of videos. I honestly love McCordsville, Fortville. I think, and I know this is really weird, we lump McCordsville, Fortville together because that is the Mount Vernon School District. I like to go by school districts versus cities because, again, if you've watched any of our videos, if you search just by city, you're going to be hurting yourself because at the end of the day, if you just go by city and you want, say you're looking at a school district or let's say you want a good area and I only hit Fishers. There are areas that are really good areas that are in Hamilton Southeastern School District, but not in Fishers, Indiana. Okay. So hopefully that helps. I think McCordsville, Fortville has a super cute downtown area. It's great. And they're kind of like getting the vibe of like the Carmel, Fishers area. Pendleton is also doing the same. I also think you can get a little bit more for your money. You're a little bit further out, so you have a little bit more of a country feel. But I don't think that's going to last too long. Maybe, that 5 to 10 years before it's going to start feeling like kind of that Fishers. It might take a little bit longer to actually feel like Fishers, but like it's going to have that robust growth spurt going up because the schools are really good. It is a great locations. It's within that kind of first, I'm going to put it in the first bubble because it's not quite as far out as like Greenfield. Greenfield is kind of the second bubble area, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would highly recommend if you're wanting to move to the Indianapolis area. So we say that word a lot, the Indianapolis area, but Indianapolis, you're worried about the area. And so you want to go to a bubble or a donut, right? And so did I say bubble? Not a bubble, donut. If you go to that first, hey baby, she came to visit. Hi, sweetie. That first donut, you're going to get a little bit more money by, instead of doing that Fishers area, that you go just a little bit further out and go to that McCordsville, Fortville. So, because you can get just a little bit more for your money. And for some people, that makes a huge difference, right? Especially if you're looking at that median price point, if you can go just a little bit more, huh? Yeah, McCordsville, Fortville. It's right there. So like Fisher, so you're like, it's still within I call it within the first donut, but it's trending like a second donut community, if that makes sense. Okay. Next question. I'm thinking about moving to Indiana. Do you get a lot of tornadoes here? Okay, so and I think we also have and the next question. I'm gonna lump these two questions in one because the next question is how much snow do you get in the winter in central Indiana? So these are both weather related questions. I am going to say there is a guy that Adam and I watched. Let me see if I can add this. His name's Max Velocity. Adam found this guy, Max, a couple of years ago, and he has a YouTube channel. It's a great picture that I stuck, that I landed on for you guys. Doing the duck. Okay. I'm going to take him away. Anyways, he has a great channel that talks about weather. And honestly, I think he talks about weather better than any weather person I've ever experienced. He had an assessment, the video that I just posted, which is this winter will dump tons of snow. So Adam watched this, I think yesterday, and he is predicting that the Midwest to us is going to have a colder winter with lots of snow. And or this year was probably the year that I've seen the most tornadoes in the area. Now, when I say when I've seen the most tornadoes, you guys, I've never seen a tornado in my entire life. I have lived here for over 35 years. I've never seen a tornado. I don't even know what I would do if I saw a tornado. People do when they call, especially when they're relocating. If this is you, if you're relocating from the area and you're doing research and it says, you know, that you need to have a basement in Indiana because of tornadoes. I feel like I always want to debunk this because yes, a lot of homes in Indiana, if you came to the area like 20, 30 years ago, a lot of houses had basements because the thought is that we live in Tornado Alley, but we're not Kansas. And so we live in Tornado Alley. And so when the tornado comes, you want to be able to run to your basement. I honestly hate basements. If I'm being brutally honest with you, I think they're cold, they're stinky, they flood because in Indiana, we're in a high water table state, which means the water is in the ground. And so if we get a ton of rain, which we do, and Max says we're going to have a cold, wet, snowy, like the snow, even though it's not rain, it's snow, it's going to seep into the ground. And I mean, our basement has flooded. I don't know very many people who have basements where they haven't flooded. So what do you want? Flood or a tornado? I mean, okay, I get it. Yes, a flood, maybe if your basement floods, is more manageable than getting hit by a tornado. Okay, I get it. But if you live in a house that doesn't have a basement, you just go to an inner bedroom. Like the rule is you go to an inner bedroom or usually it's a closet or a bathroom, right? That has no windows and you hunker down. And I have tons of clients. I mean, our first house didn't have a basement. I have a basement now and I just don't like it. So yes, we don't get a lot of tornadoes, but I will say during the season, the tornado sirens occasionally go off, right? I have to admit, I love thunderstorms. So my favorite thing to do, we have a screened-in patio, and when the siren goes off, you guys, I run outside. I'm like, I want to, I'm that person. I'm sitting like, just enjoying the just torrential downpour of rain. And when it turns a slight hue of green or greener, sometimes I go to the basement. I know, I'm that person. I've never seen one. I don't know if I would be like a storm chaser where I'd like want to go see the tornadoes. I don't know if I want to get my adrenaline going that much. But yeah, so I don't think we get a lot of tornadoes. Again, I've never seen them. You do get them usually where I've seen them hit is usually where there is a lot of land, right? Where you're out in farmlands, they hit farmhouses. But they hit Carmel this year. So I'm not saying don't be concerned about them, but at the same time, like we don't get a ton of them. But Max Velocity says we're going to get a ton of snow. So how much snow do we get?
Yeah.
Adam's going to say something, you guys.
Typically, we see maybe close or to around 24 inches a year at most.
Oh,
And
24
this
inches.
year, he's projecting 36 to 48 inches. So,
Oh, damn.
quite a bit.
Okay.
It's going to resemble the winter of 2012 when we last had a ton of
Okay.
cold because of the atmospheric conditions.
Okay, Adam gets into this a lot more. Can you tell? Should just have him come on and just tell the story. Okay. This is typically what I tell people about winters because what I like about Midwest Indiana winters is, for the most part, if we get snow, we get snow. Sometimes it can be an inch. Sometimes it can be 4 or 5 inches. Apparently, Max thinks we're going to get a lot more this year. But we get it. It's around for about a week and then it's gone. Like we don't, because we fluctuate with temperatures, it doesn't sit. I like that. I like to get the snow. I like to play in it and then I need it gone. Like I could not live in Canada because you never snows there for months, never leaves. Whereas this, it kind of leaves. Now for my friends that have the seasonal depression because it's gray outside for months on end. I mean, I feel for you because it does suck. We have a few months, like 2 to 3, 6, 7, 2 to 3 inches or months where it's dark and gloomy and not really enjoyable. And I hate it. What I actually hate more than the snow is when we get below 0. And it's like you walk outside and you like have to catch your breath. It's kind of the opposite of in the summertime where we get into the like high 80s to low 90s, which some people are like, that's not even that hot. I'm like, I'm dying. Like, oh, I'm like sweating. I met with clients that came from Texas this year. And we met at a Starbucks and I'm sitting outside and they're like, this is gorgeous. And I'm like in kind of pants because it was kind of like one of those days where it was like cooler, but then warmer. I was sweating like, and they're like, we went on a walk. And I'm like, I thought we were going to sit inside of Starbucks. It was fine. It was funny, but that's just the difference, right? If you're coming from Texas, they don't think our humidity is nothing, whereas I think our humidity is stifling and awful. So perspective is all I'm saying. It just depends on where you're coming from. I don't think our winters are that bad. Michigan people would say our winters are nothing. Tennessee people or Florida people would think our winters are awful. Like, how could you even live? Like, so it's all perception. It just depends. And you just have to kind of put yourself in the right mindset when you go about that. Okay. I have one more question because it's 2:58 and we're coming to the end. So we're going to have to do another one because I have a lot more questions and I feel like I didn't get into a lot of them. The last question is there a lot of gluten-free or other allergy-friendly options in the Indy area? And so you might have heard me say something about gluten-free. I myself am gluten-free. No, I am not celiac, but I apparently have one of the 2 genes that causes my body to treat it like it is a foreign entity and it does not like it. And trust me, if you're a client and you're like, but you should try it. You guys, I've tried it so many times. It's not enjoyable. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. And so, because I'm in horrible pain when I do it. Anyways, so yes, I have been gluten-free now for like 17 years. And back in the day, awful options, horrible. There's so many. I went to a Colts game. Nope. It wasn't the Colts. It was the Pacers last night. Went to a Pacers game last night. And I always, when you go to events, you just never know what options they're going to have. And so it's halftime and the boys are hungry because we went on a date night with them. And I was like, let's just walk around the loop of the arena and see what they got. Well, there was this cookie place and a girl likes her cookies, but finding gluten-free cookies are not easy. And so I walked up to this vendor, and he had all these cookies out, and I was like, do you have anything gluten-free, please? And he's like, I do. I have gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. And so I got so excited. Chick-fil-A was also in there, and so a lot of people, again, Chick-fil-A has many gluten-free options. And they had chicken salad chick there. And so, yes, even just at one Pacers game, I will say it was great. We actually last year went to a event called Baby Got Brunch. And again, I'm always hesitant to go to events or things that are going on around the city, partially, especially when it costs a lot and it involves food and drinking, because, well, I can't have beer. Sorry, I'm adjusting my hips. There we go. I can't have beer. And so I hate spending all that money, but even at Baby Got Brunch, there were tons, almost all the vendors recognized and or knew about gluten-free. We actually also have a lot of vegan and or options there. There's also bakeries that have where it's like nut and milk and soy and like your big allergen concerns. So I guess I don't have a whole lot to compare it to from the standpoint I've gone to other cities and have found that it's about similar to Fishers, or not Fishers, Indianapolis and or the surrounding areas. There's many restaurants. We do have restaurants like BB Bop and or Sweet Greens that have where, almost all of the ingredients are allergen friendly. And so, yeah, honestly, I think we have a fairly robust allergy friendly options in the Indianapolis and surrounding areas. And for the most part, other than sometimes your big chains, sometimes they don't know what you say when you say, do you have gluten-free? We have a lot of smaller, bougier restaurants that definitely, like when I go to Salt, like they will change out gloves and do everything from a celiac perspective. So I think we have great options, and think that if you are someone with that, we also have a lot of farmers markets that also have some of those artisan styled, like there's a gluten-free baker that comes to the Fishers Farmers Market. And then there's, and from a holistic basis, there's a lot of options, especially at the farmers markets, because a lot of the artisan, vendors come. So hopefully that helps. I also think, kind of like Dr. Logan that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, he is a holistic functional medicine practitioner or doctor. And so we actually have a lot more of those options that are around. So I think we've advanced quite a bit. I think Indianapolis, honestly, I talk a lot about Hamilton County, but Indianapolis and even the surrounding areas. I was even reading Caitlin Clark, which is a WNBA player for the team here locally, but I think she's known nationally. She's not from this area, and she was like, Indianapolis, she did a TikTok, or she was on an interview and they turned it into a TikTok or a reel, and was like, Indianapolis is underrated. I don't think people understand how much Indianapolis is really just, it is a hub. Nationally, whenever I'm looking at like realtor.com or any like national news portals, Indiana almost is never on there. And I think that's a shortcoming, because I think Indianapolis and the surrounding areas are a phenomenal place. Like there's so much to offer from this area. And I think it's just underrated. People don't know about it. I think people just don't, like, we've been literally coined the flyover state for I don't know how long. And growing up, I never really understood that. I actually think by doing this YouTube channel, it's taught me so much, and meeting so many people from across the country that taught like that. Then I am spitting. You guys, I'm ready to have these braces off. I spit at everybody. It's so fun. I make farting noises with my lips and I spit at people. It's so fun. Anyways, I think that people just don't they just don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know, which I get it. But it really is such a great place to raise a family and or not a family. Like if it's just you and your spouse, or it's just you and your animals, like everything's just so close. There's so much to do. And if you want to go to any of the places, we're in the middle, you guys. You could go any direction and get all of the things. You could get mountains and oceans and parks and all of the things. Just drive any direction. So, anyways, there are a lot of questions that I didn't get to, like talking about HOAs and the growth in like Sheridan and some of the other, the second donut counties, prices, the different, areas where to find character. Like we have so many questions that I didn't get to. So what I want you to do is leave a comment below. Did you like this? It's a little bit different from our normal lives. I'm not going to do these all the time because I like to really give you the information of the communities and or what's coming and going and the data, because we didn't talk about any data today. I talked about how to get data, but not what the data is. And so I just think that I want to know if you like this type of video as well. So leave a comment below on yay or nay. Do you like this? Do you not like this? Is it something that you want me to do again, so that we can, I don't know, try to better serve you from the aspect of what we provide. Okay, so that is, at this point in time, that is a wrap on today's AMA, so to speak, your Ask Me Anything edition of the Hamco Roundabout. Hopefully you learned something, or I mean, I feel like I've talked about all of these things on our channel from one way or another, but at the same time, I want to be able to answer questions, and sometimes Adam's answering them, but I think that other people would maybe want to know the questions. So hopefully you liked that take on today's episode. I'll be back in 2 weeks to kind of talk about all things Hamilton County. Appreciate you kind of sticking with us and learning a little bit about, I don't know what's going on. Learning a little bit about the area. Again, I'll be back, I guess, in 2 weeks to kind of give you the real estate scoop and talk about the hype. I'm trying to coin myself as the hype girl of Hamilton County. We're not sure. Nobody's really given me feedback if we like that or not. But again, like and subscribe. If you liked this and you're like, hey, my friend asked me this question the other day, send this to them. We would love to talk with them as well if they have any questions. Now I'm just rambling. Anyways, thanks for sticking with us. Stay curious, stay local, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. End.